Thank you for joining us for your parkerweather.info October 11th update. Um, Took kind of a break from updates for a while, but we are back on track and ready to go. A lot to catch up on. Well, last week we saw Hurricane Otto develop just north of Puerto Rico and cause massive amounts of rain. But other than that, there was about a 4 or 5 day lull with really not much going on in terms of tropical development. Here's a visible satellite imagery of Otto. You can see on the southeastern, eastern, and northern side is where all the development was as it gained its rotation within the storm. And here's the same view of our AVN loop. And then here is a water vapor loop. And this is just to show you, notice on the western edge, all that dry air that's getting sucked into the storm. And that's going to be a huge inhibitor of Otto basically being able to strengthen itself, because once you inject that dry air into the storm can't develop anymore. And that is sort of to show you basically what happened to Otto. Some dry air, a lot of dry air got into the centralized low area of the storm, and it fizzled out within a couple days, but not before um, giving Puerto Rico a pretty large amount of rain. That was the day before Otto developed, so they got some pretty substantial rain along the western, southwestern seaboard, and then thanks to Otto, they got massive amounts of rain. Pretty much across the entire island, 8 to 9 to 10 inches along the southwestern area, and then even in the lowest areas, still got about 2 inches of rain over that period. So currently, though, this is a right now look about what's going on. Nothing much going on along the intertropical convergence zone. The majority of it is just north of Honduras and Nicaragua. And if you look, it looks like there's going to be 100% chance of tropical development. And once we go to this next slide and I show you the loop, you'll see just how significant this could potentially be. You notice how strong the rotation already is, looking at this water vapor loop right there. And as that moves over land, it's going to continue to strengthen, but it should begin to move north a little bit. And then here's the visible, should begin to move north a little bit over the next couple of days and definitely strengthen into what could be Hurricane Paula by as late as tonight or into tomorrow morning. Um, yeah, so basically, outside of tropical, we've had a pretty quiet week in terms of weather across the U.S. Not much has been going on. Just a couple flood warnings along the Mississippi River in parts of Illinois and then northern Iowa, southern Minnesota. But for the most part, it's been a pretty quiet week across the majority of the United States. Now, today, we do have a chance for some severe weather in eastern Texas and western Arkansas in that area. And then as we go into Pennsylvania and New Jersey, a chance for some thunder showers today over there as well. So we're basically having a low that's dipping into the plains, and that is going to be the driving force behind the majority of the severe weather that they're going to see in the Texas area. And as that low begins to move into later today, we're going to see it set up sort of a small little jet streak area over Texas, and that's going to definitely provide some uplift to that area. So as we go into looking at the 500 millibar, again, we want to look downstream, and if the low is in Kansas, we want to look off, and it looks like downstream of the low is definitely, they're going to see uplift in parts of Texas, Arkansas, um, portions of Oklahoma and Louisiana as well. And then this is the 700 millibar vertical velocities that are accompanied with that uplift. And there's definitely some vertical velocity and uplift in Texas, Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma, and that whole area. This is a little bit later today, and all that uplift is going to move a little bit downstream. All that positive vorticity advection is going to move downstream into Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And then coupled with that same vorticity is going to be the associated uplift at 700 millibars. We're also seeing some pretty warm temperature advection into the southeast as well. So with this temperature advection into the area, there's going to be a lot of not only warmer temperatures, but also moisture brought into the area. So here's a current satellite still image of what's going on, and we're looking for a lot of area for daytime heating, where the sun can hit the surface, heat up the surface, cause warmed parcels to rise in there and break that capping layer. The capping layer is what prohibits storms from developing. So if you can get enough air to heat the surface and rise, it can begin to break the cap down, and then that can cause storms to pop. So plenty of surface that is getting warmed over that entire area. Some storms have begun to initiate in the northern boot hill of Louisiana, Texas, and parts of southern Arkansas. So we're definitely seeing plenty of moisture along. A pretty heavy area of moisture has pretty much inundated the entire, you know, eastern half of the United States. So plenty of moisture for storm to develop along with all the uplift in the southern plains. Well, here is the SIN, and SIN is convective inhibition, and that's sort of about the cap what I was talking about. And basically, 0 to 50 is a weak cap and can be pretty easily be broken by daily heating. And it looks like that's what we have over the majority of the portions of Texas where we're going to see storms popping up. So that should not be too much of a worry. Tonight we do have some sporting events that could see some potential weather. The Braves play the Giants at 7:30. The first pitch 77, fifth inning 72, and then by that final out, it's going to cool down drastically over the Atlanta area as we look over Turner Field in downtown Atlanta, with that final out being 67 degrees as the Braves take on the Giants in Game 4 of the NLDS. And then one of the potential things we could see tonight is a delay of a football game thanks to some thunder showers due to that slight probability of severe weather up in the New England area. Well, this is New Meadowlands Stadium, and by the first snap should be 69 with some showers, halftime 65, and then it's going to cool down by about 8 from beginning to end of game, 8 degrees, and that final temperature will be 61 degrees as the New York Jets take on the Minnesota Vikings at their brand new stadium in New York. Well, currently, this is actually what we're looking at, and this game looks like it will be delayed a little bit. That's Manhattan, just on the western edge of the screen, and some pretty heavy thunder showers are moving into that area from Pennsylvania, or from New Jersey, excuse me, into New York City. And then this is the most recent image. Those thunder showers are creating lightning, and that's sort of the biggest worry with all this. And they don't want to have anyone get hurt with lightning strikes or anything like that. So they're going to wait for these storms to pass through before they continue the football game. So what's coming up over the next couple of days? Well, this is the 4.5-day GFSX, and look off the coast of New England. It has a very, very powerful low that's going to drain a lot of cold air into the eastern portion of the United States, and that's also going to bring a lot of potential interesting weather, possibly some snow into northern Michigan, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, that area as well. So this is the GFSX showing, and I'm just going to show you how strong the GFSX shows this low being. Right now, it doesn't have it closed off or anything like that, but still somewhat of a pretty strong storm. But notice when we just look at the regular GFS model, has a much, much stronger centralized low off the coast of New England. Now the positioning is a little bit off, but it definitely has a much stronger low. So there's disagreement in the intensity, but there is agreement in the fact that there's going to be something there in 4.5 days. And then this is the GFS as well at 500 millibars, a very, very strong storm potentially over this entire area. So it's something to keep an eye on as we go into the next couple of days. And then this is at 850 millibar. Basically, the GFS is showing cold air being drained into the majority of New England and the majority of the eastern seaboard. Okay, so we kind of want to look at model agreement to see how the models are agreeing in terms of, are they all predicting the same thing? Was one model predicting a specific type of storm? Is another model not predicting that? Well, this is the GFS 60 hour, and it shows a pretty large swath of vorticity at 500 millibars in northern Illinois, Wisconsin, western Michigan, in that portion of the United States. Then we're going to look at the NAM 60 hour. Now it has that area of vorticity, but it has it A, not as strong, and then B, it has it shifted off more to the northeast. So we know that there's definitely some disagreement there. So go ahead and look at the NAM 60 hour 300 millibar wind speeds. Now look in Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, South Carolina. You see that jet streak that has moved through that area is now in the Atlantic Ocean. Then we're going to go to the GFS, and it has that jet streak more shifted to the north and a little bit farther down path. So again, the GFS is a little bit quick to move this system, but it definitely looks like that's going to be the beginning of the system that's going to move to the eastern seaboard and really affect that area in about 3 to 3.5 days. Well, this has been your parkerweather.info update for October 11th. Be sure to log onto our website, parkerweather.info, for all weather updates, and our blog, parkerweather.blogspot.com, for all blog updates. Thanks, and have a great day.